So let's go ahead and get started with the staff demographic file and discuss key data elements. So here, think of the SDEM file as the staff counterpart for the SSID enrollment from Fall 1. So just as the SSID enrollment establishes ownership for your LEA, the SDEM file establishes staff ownership, allowing you to submit assignments and course data for each staff member. Without a valid SDEM record, you can't submit staff assignments, course section, or student course section records. So you'll likely encounter errors like missing seed or invalid job assignment codes. So before anything else in Fall 2, submit and post your SDEM file. So let's go over the key things you need to know when working with the staff demographics. So again, collaboration is key. You'll need to coordinate with your human resources and site staff to gather accurate data for the SDEM file. This ensures your submission reflects current staffing and meets CALPADS requirements. Fall 2 includes only certificated staff active on census day and course sections occurring on census day. Staff who are no longer employed must be exited properly in CALPADS, which is why it is important to start with some housekeeping now. So we'll dive deeper into how to exit SDEM records correctly on the next slide. LEAs should report directly employed staff with a valid seed and report the credentials appropriate to their staff assignment. And we'll cover this more in detail later in the presentation. All staff demographic records must have the LEA service years and total service years. These values must be updated annually and are used to identify inexperienced teachers under ESSA compliance. So, all right, let's go ahead and talk about closing SDEM records. In this slide, you can see if you have a staff member who is no longer employed by your LEA, you must close the SDEM record. And this is done by entering the employment end date, which should reflect the last day the individual was employed with your educational institute. Let's move on to which staff members need to report it for Fall 2. You'll need to report certificated and certain non-certificated staff who are employed in qualifying positions. Certificated employees working in certificated positions at school districts, county offices of education, charter schools, schools run by Department of Corrections, Division of Juvenile Services, or state pre-special schools. And you will also include staff on temporary leave as they still count as being employed. You will report university interns or district interns authorized by the Commission of Teacher Credentialing working in certificated roles at the same types of institutions previously talked about. Non-certificated instructors in charter schools providing non-core, non-college prep instruction with non-certificated administrators in school districts or county offices of education working at the levels of assistant, deputy, associate, superintendent, or higher who have seeds, non-certificate administrators in charter schools who have seeds, substitute teachers, both long-term and short-term as defined by your district, itinerary teachers, those teaching at multiple sites, whether or not they appear on the master schedule, pull out and push-in teachers, also known as resource teachers, teaching at one or multiple sites, and generally these teachers are not on the master schedule, and individuals on provisional internship permits, short-term staff permits, or teacher emergency permits. So this slide shows a screenshot of SDEM records showing key fields. All staff members who are active during Fall 2 submission need to have a staff demographic record with an effective start date, as shown on this slide under A, on or prior to census day. So the effective start date represents when the data in the record became effective. You are also required to add a new SDEM record for every academic year with the start date on or before Census Day. The staff information section contains the statewide education identifier, or the SEED number, shown in this slide under B. This is required for all educators in public schools K to 12 LEAs in California, assigned by the California Commission of Teacher Credentialing, the CTC. The SEED is required to submit staff data to CALPADS, and it's required for course section records. The SEED allows CALPADS to maintain data on individual educators over time. So you can only submit a staff assignment record for an educator who has a SEED. If you're reporting a staff member that is employed by a third party, an ROP, or a college instructor, record for those teachers. So the degree status code listed under C represents the highest academic degree a given staff member has earned. The employment status code listed under D is required for all teachers and optional for administrators and pupil services classifications, and represents their current employment status at the LEA, whether probationary, temporary, tenured, or other. The employment start date listed under E is key for determining if a staff member can be included in the reporting period. The employment end date listed under G is required for staff who is no longer employed by the LEA to exclude them from the Fall 2 submission. So additionally, all fields with an asterisk must be populated. And all staff demographic records must have an LEA service years and total service years. And this is listed under H, and this needs to be updated annually. You will need to manually include one additional year for your staff member if your staff member is returning. For returning staff, the staff service years should be one greater than last academic year. So for new staff, this is 1 year. The total service years is the total years a staff member was credentialed and certificated, and it is used to calculate inexperienced teachers on the California School Dashboard. This will need to be manually entered as the total service years from the last academic year plus 1 year. So the information populated in the various fields in the SDEM files are used in reports like 4.2, staff count and FTE by job classification, report 4.4, the staff profile list, and report 4.3, staff teaching assignments. So these reports will help you verify the information that has been submitted for Fall 2.